someone was asking me today, if I'm doing the ritual without the mood, is that okay? And I said, from the philosophical point of view, you should know that there is love in your soul, part and parcel of your existence. Whether you're offering it with love or not is not, even like a requirement, because it's just a natural progression. Meaning we should offer it with love. And I gave an example of seasons, because I just heard this in a darshan like a week ago, 8-9 days ago. So there was a darshan where the Vaishnavas were talking about the seasons in spiritual life. So when we join bhakti, it's like spring, ecstatic, enthusiastic, utsahamai. And that utsaha, if it's based on unsteady faith, and unsteady grounding in the philosophy, then it can be weak. But if we continue to practice, then the spring turns to summer. If you don't continue to practice seriously, then the spring of spiritual life can turn into hedonism, it can turn into so many diversions, so many things. But if you continue to really practice, it'll turn to summer, and summer is heat and pain and fire and anartha nivritti, cleansing of your unwanted desires. And it's a rigorous process called tapasya, the fire. Sometimes in the fire period, the summer period, I'm not offering it with enough devotion, I'm not chanting with enough love, I'm not a good enough devotee, I'm not good. And then, it's also important to, sometimes I say, give yourself reassurance and a pat on the back that it'll be okay. Trust the process. Trust the process. I can say that in my own experience, trust the process. Not like Raghunandan offering the plate with so much love that Krishna eats it. And then you can also be more mature to understand that he's not really hungry for the earth, water, fire, air, ether. As Lord Chaitanya was showing, do you want me to eat dirt? He ate dirt and Sachimata chastised him. Krishna ate dirt, Madhya Yashoda chastised him. The cowherd boys criticized him for eating dirt. So he would say, like Lord Chaitanya told Sachimata, I was watching ISKCON New Jersey drama. They did a beautiful drama. Like all my friends are in it. So it was like beautiful drama. If anyone's watching, really well done. #1 Hare Krishna drama. Why? Because Namras Prabhu was Jagannath Mishra, and his wife Sachimata, and his son Nimai. So, #1 Hare Krishna drama. Anyhow, so I'm losing the track here. Where were we?
Like you're not offering with love.
If you're not offering with love, okay, we're in the summer. It's difficult. Nutsa Mai stage, the spring of spiritual life, we're in the beginning. It's like very natural. But we have to continue and maintain and trust the process. Trust in the existence of love. This is what I was telling the person, that love exists as part and parcel of your soul. And what you're doing is the process to uncover that. And if you don't trust the process, then you stop doing the practice. If you have a very bad illness, the first time you take the treatment doesn't necessarily cure it. I know this from my life in India. First year I spent 6 months there, I had 1 month pneumonia. I was on antibiotics for 6 weeks. 6 weeks antibiotics. Utsahamai, very enthusiastic. We were doing Goura Purnima every morning, leaving at 2 a.m. And every morning about 4:30 a.m. we'd bathe in a different kund and have class right by the lake. It was the most beautiful, magical experience you can imagine. Before Mangalarti, going out and doing Goura Purnima, but it was the winter season, so it was cold, and I would bathe in a different lake. And the last 4 or 5 days I was getting a cough, I was getting sick. I said, I'm going to finish the 1 month rut. And the Vaishnava was saying, don't do it, you'll get sick, patience, don't be so over enthusiastic. I said, no, I got this. So I was like, 1 more day, I got 1 more. I didn't get to finish the month anyway, because I got so sick the last few days, I couldn't even do the Purikrama. And then for 6 weeks I was in like the room, Govardhan temple, where we do cooking for Kartik. And then we'd have the basement where they keep the prasad, and in the back of that there's like one little room. And so for 6 weeks I'm on antibiotics. But the first treatment didn't cure it. So it's like the process, the practice, even like understand the importance of the ritual and how the tradition is being held in the ritual for thousands of years. Even if people don't have love, they know I have to go and offer pranam to God, I have to offer arati once a day, and it's in the genetic memory. I was in Oman and we went to a Krishna temple. There's a Krishna temple and a Shiva temple. In the future, who knows? But what are they doing? Like 1,000 Hindus are coming together, and the only purpose of driving an hour, driving 2 hours, waiting for an hour, is just so that when the arti starts, they can stand there. No harikatha, no big prashadam, no big drama, this or that. Their only purpose of going there is to go to arti. Even more than darshan, just to they know that during arti, the deva is present. God is busy. If you want to meet with a king, it's very busy most of the time, but he'll have a darshan period. So arti is the darshan period when God is present fully, and he sees you and you see him. So the culture is preserved just in the ritual. And if you follow that, even without devotion, understanding the inherent nature of love as an eternal substance, how can love come into being? Because then it's not eternal. So we're not saying Swarup Siddha Bhakti, we're not going into the waters of that discussion. But within the Gatana, that means the constitutional nature of the self, Gurudev or Bhaktivinoda Thakur would say it's like a magnet or God, and the soul is like an iron filing. And if it's rusty, it's not attracted. And so the rust accumulates over time from the marginal potency. But beneath the rust, there's the natural quality. And that natural quality is attraction, called rati. And rati is also called priti, love, or anurag, prem, so many names. So that's the natural thing. By the ritual, through the summer season, then what comes? The rainy season. If you can go through the fire season, the hot summer season, when the monsoon comes, then this is now we're going from anartha nivritti to nishta, and beyond nishta. Nishta is still summer. But when you come to ruchi, when you actually feel I was saying, when you should start, you should start using the English mantras in your archan. Right? I love you. Here's your flower. I love you. Here's your food. Idam achamaniyam. Will you take my water or not? I love you. But we shouldn't say it out loud, because mantras are silent. Okay? Mantras are silent. Even Radharani won't say it to Krishna. Show me anywhere in Sastra where she says, I love you, Krishna. So if this mantra is used cheaply and out loud, Radharani says, keep it in your heart. Radharani is always saying, I love Krishna, I love you. But when Krishna comes to the Kunj, she'll ask him to leave. And she'll escort him out with the other gopis. No, go. So this is very guarded. But we're not recommending, just external sentimentalism. That's not what we're recommending. But we're saying, that comes. The monsoon season comes. I was hearing this in the darshan 8 days ago or something. Not exactly like this, but the kernel of it. What happened in the monsoon season? All the water gets muddied. And so love isn't completely pure yet. It's not completely pure, but it's there. And it's starting to bubble up to the surface like a spring. It's coming up from the spring to the surface, and it's starting to starting to water your heart, and you're starting to feel that sentiment in truth. But it's still muddy. That's why there's a danger at that stage when it increases, ruchi, ashakti, bhav. Even at the stage of bhav, there's risk. And we see this in, you could say, one of the inception stories of India as Bharat. How could it be, the way Veda and Saraswati arranges things is that the importance of our Sanatana Dharma culture, the patriarch, the Abraham of India, Bharat Maharaj, the namesake of the country. He left his whole kingdom when he took Vanaprastha, understanding that the ultimate goal of life is to reach God. He left his kingdom aside, he went to the forest, he started doing his penance, his austerities, the ritual, with the mercy of Guru, understanding the potency of the seed mantra. We have no idea. I would argue that scientists have no idea of the potency of a mantra. Sanskrit mantras. Even an English mantra, I love you. You say it enough to something, we don't know. That's a spiritual substance. You can't quantify it. We know it's powerful. For example, they have tests with, when you have more scientifically minded or educated people, many here, much more than me. So, with water, you can put rice in water. Have you heard this one? And 3 different ones. One is in a room on its own, neglected. One is in a room where it's told, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. And one is in a room where it's said, I love you, I love you, I love you. The neglected one dies the fastest, moldy. The hated one, next. But the one that is shown love lasts the longest, lives the longest, is the most potent. And water has memory, plants have memory. These mantras have power. So even if you're not doing it with love, but you're chanting the mantras, the Gayatri mantra, the Maha mantra, the name has the power to reveal the soul in the form of God and your love. That's why we say Nam Rupa, from name to form. So the ritual is so important. What is our ritual? Prabhupada said, wake up in the morning and chant. If you cannot do 64 rounds, 16. If you cannot do 16, 8. If not do 8, 4. If you cannot do 4, 1. From childhood, my mother would make me do at least 1 round. Have faith in the power of that mantra to transform the heart and reveal the self and reveal God and reveal your love. Those 3 things, love, lover, and beloved, Bhakti, Bhakta, Bhagavan, will be revealed by the mantra without a doubt. But our Guruji would say, I just heard this again recently, Nam Prem. Offer some devotion. Because if you don't offer devotion, then the power of that mantra will divert you. Generally, because your love is misplaced. So even though we're saying, okay, no problem, the ritual is good, but the ritual, at least with the conception of real bhakti. That makes sense? We're doing the ritual, we don't have so much devotion, but we understand what did Mahaprabhu say, nadanam, najanam, nasanam. It's like somewhere in the back of our mind, don't do it for worldly things, don't do it for followers, don't do it for fame, don't do it for temples. And then what do we say in the Bhagavatam? Ahaitukya pratyata. It's all there encoded in the scripture again and again and again and again. And so at least we conceptually understand love for God should be unconditional, unmotivated, causeless, and so forth. So even if we don't have the emotion or the sentiment of devotion, we should do the ritual, at least with the conception of pure devotion, which is what Gurudev emphasized again and again and again. Pure bhakti, pure bhakti, pure bhakti, yoga society, pure bhakti, pure bhakti, pure bhakti. Gurudev said it has to have the name pure bhakti anywhere in it. That is my teaching. So by doing that, then you know what happens? So the India story, Bharat Maharaj. The monsoon season came through his penance, and he started to feel by chanting the mantra, even if you don't know it's a mantra to awaken love of God. You know, the long version form of I love you is Gopal mantra. Like these are our mantras. It literally means like the soul to God. Swaha. Swaha is the end of Gopal mantra. And the word Swaha is the feminine Shakti of Agnidev, fire. So you think of fire as a portal to the Godhead. Agnidev is one of the most ancient gods worshipped in Hinduism. And he's the messenger who gives the offering to whatever devata you worship. Ganesh, whoever you want to worship, you through the medium fire. But when we do Gopal mantra, what do we say? Swaha. In the feminine form, we offer ourselves. Because in this world, we can all be masters of something. We can all be purush to some degree. And it's not a male or female binary. It's a mentality. I am purush, I am the controller, I am the master. So we can all be kings even. Indradumna Maharaj, great king. Indradumna Maharaj, great king, but he chanted a mantra given by his guru, and he understood that I am not the king to God. I love God and he is greater than me, and I offer him my obedience, my respect. But by chanting that mantra, Indradumna Maharaj in a dream saw Lord Jagannath. We could go on all night, so we'll end soon. You know, but he saw the Lord in a dream by the power of that mantra. And then you see that, how that has affected our culture. How Jagannath worship came from that dream of the king. Understanding I'm not Purush, I'm not the male dominant person in existence. That is God. I will offer myself to him in devotion. Devotion is naturally like a feminine principle. It's Shakti. Devotion, love, Priti is Shakti. So, going back to Bharat Maharaj. In the monsoon season, you have to be very careful, more careful, most careful. Mahaprabhu showed this. There's a story of Mahaprabhu. What happened? He was in Jagannath Puri, and he heard the singing of Geet Govinda. And someone was singing it, and he wasn't absorbed in, I'm a man and a beautiful woman is singing. He is Radhe, and someone is singing about Radharani's love for Krishna and Krishna. And so in the bhav, Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam Nomi Goura Swarupam, in the bhav of Srimati Radhika, Mahaprabhu ran to embrace the singer. Out of appreciation. Radharani appreciated the forest girls who were collecting the parag, the kumkum from the lotus feet of Krishna, and they were smearing on their bodies, and Radharani said how much love they have, forgetting that it was from her chest, where she placed Krishna's lotus feet. So Radharani and Mahaprabhu in Radharani Bhav runs to embrace this beautiful singer, beautiful gopi singing to Krishna with so much devotion. He went to embrace her. And what happened? His Sevak Govindaprabhu ran behind him and caught his feet. And Mahaprabhu came to his external senses. What happened? What happened? He was like lost in trance, internal consciousness. He said, Prabhu, this is a Devdasi. She's a dancer for Jagannath and a singer for Jagannath. And Mahaprabhu said, oh, very good. If I had embraced her, then next I would enter the ocean and give up my life. I would have broken sannyas. So even the Lord is showing that. What's next? Choda Haridas Katha. Yadi pranaya rakite gorangerasane chota haridas katha take janamane. Very important verse of Mahaprabhu. It's our Guru Varga verse. If you want the love of Gauranga and Krishna Prem, always remember the example of Chota Haridas. He was a very innocent monk, and one bad advisor, you have to be very careful for that. Someone gave him the advice, go beg very good quality rice from this wealthy family, Siki Mahini, Madhavi Devi, elderly lady, Madhavi Devi. And he went and begged from her and took from her, and he was kind of establishing a relationship there. Not like that. Meaning just that like mood of, oh, I need something from you, oh Mother, will you give it to me? We see this in Gorkashras Babaji Maharaj. Just like jumping examples really quick. Older lady, Babaji Maharaj was blind. He had been eating Ganga clay in Navadvip. He'd become blind. And so he was living in his kutir after he left the latrine, because he was living in a latrine. He said, I prefer the stench of urine and stool than the stench of material association. So that everyone begged him, please come out, like from all directions, the ministry, the district authorities, the sadhus, everyone begged him. Finally, he stayed in a little simple kutir. So one evening he was coming home from his bhajan from the Ganga. He would stand up to his neck in the Ganga and put a basket of sand on his head. Wet sand. People would say, why, Baba? He said, Maya is protecting me. I'm protected from Maya up to here because I'm in the Ganga. She's Brahma Drivatram, transcendental. But what about my head? So I have to put Ganga sand with water and it'll drip on my head. I'll be protected from Maya. So when he came home in the evening, a lady who had been there coming for his darshan saw a serpent in his bhiksha basket that was hanging from, in a rafter, and the snake was intertwined in it and eating from that basket. And we know the venom of a snake, if it's mixed with the vasta, the food, dravya, then the poison can go in it, like poison of a snake in milk. So if Babaji takes that, he'll become sick, he can die. So she said, oh dear Baba, be careful. The snake's in your food, don't eat it. And he said like, okay, enough. He said, okay. Then she persisted again. Oh Baba, don't eat it, and I'll go get you something new. And then he's like, Hare Krishna, again. And she was like pestering him, and then he chastised her. He said, you know what? I would prefer to die from that snake poison than from attachment to you. And by following your instructions, I will develop attachment. He's like, I would prefer to die. He said, by that poison, my one life will go. But millions of lifetimes have passed in separation from God because of directing our love and being attached to other things. Millions of lifetimes have lost. So Chota Haridas, Mahaprabhu chastised him. They cooked this rice for Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu said, I'm a sannyasi, I'm always eating broken rice. Where did this fancy rice come from? Oh, Chota Haridas went and begged it from Madhavi Devi. Mahaprabhu wouldn't talk with him for days and days and days. And they begged him, oh, it was innocent mistake. And Mahaprabhu, anytime devotees were, Mahaprabhu was free, sovereign. Anytime the devotees would try to convince Mahaprabhu to do something he didn't want to do, he would say, Govinda, let's go. And they would start packing his, very few kamandula, pack his water pot and pack his one extra pair of cloth. Probably put it inside and get ready to go. He said, I'm going to Alannath, nobody disturb me there. I can't deal with bad association. Many stories are there like that. So, Yadi Pranay Rakite Gorangerasani Chota Haridas Katha Take Janamane. Be very careful. We see that Bharat Maharaj became attached to a deer. By that attachment to the deer, he lost 2 more lives. But he has reached the high stage. We have not reached real Ruchya, Shakti yet. Most likely not even Nishta, or even Paramartik Shraddha. So we must be cautious. But, continue. Mahaprabhu said, Kirtaniya Sadahari, continue chanting the mantra. After the monsoon, you know what next season comes? If you persevere and you don't fall from the path, the autumn season comes. Sarad Ritu. And it's, some people like spring the best. And spring is the Raja, the king of seasons. But I would say Sarad Ritu is the best. Sarad Ritu, the autumn season, that's when Ras Leela happens. Vasanti Ras, the spring Ras, is for the eternal associates, Nitya Siddha Parikar. Vasanti Ras, spring Ras. But the autumn season Ras is for the sadhakas, sadhan siddha gopis. You've persevered, you've done your penance, you've done your years and years of austerities. Even the sages in the forest were chanting Gopal mantra, who prayed to Ram to accept them. He said, no, come as gopis in Braj. So after all those years of penance, in the autumn season, the water becomes clear. Cheto dharpana marjanam. Now it's completely marjita. Bharat Maharaj had love for God. He was weeping, tears of ecstasy, chanting the names of God. But then he diverted his love to a little deer, and where's the deer? Where's the deer? Here's my deer. He would feed the deer. The deer's playing with his own deer friends. Stay with me. Then he wanted to possess. He was attached. The deer will be mine. No, the deer has its own wife, or its own husband, its own children, its own friends, its own rasas. But your relationship is with your eternal beloved, your eternal Lord. Don't get distracted. So we see Sarad Ritu. The gopis, I'll end with this, and we'll continue from this point, whenever we continue. Morning time would be very nice, or evening, whenever you decide. We also want to hear from all devotees. So, autumn season, Cheto Dharpana Marjanam, completely clean. Sudha Sattva Visheshakma Prema Suryam Sasat. Then it becomes completely pure. At that point, our Goswamis say that you simply run. At that point, there's no, it's not waltering or going backwards and forwards in bhakti. We hear Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Bhaktisiddhanta, how these great saints would practice bhakti. At that point, the 1,000 lifetime journey towards God, when you get to that point, it may be 1,000,000 miles away, but the destination is reached in a moment. It becomes like that. You might have been on the journey for thousands of lives, and there may seem to be millions of distance to go, forever to go, you could say. But the power of that stage is that's when Ras happens. Sarad Ritu. Then you hear, cling, the real I. So many things to talk about. I love you. We think we are the I. We are the you. Right? We should know that Krishna is the subject. Right? And that cling, that subject comes. And the sound comes in clear consciousness. Cheto Dharpana Marjana. Mahaprabhu says the first thing, chant the name with devotion, but cleanse the mirror of the heart. When it's fully cleansed, like in that autumn season, then the Swarupa will reveal itself. The form will reveal itself. Your form, the Lord's form, and you will understand that everything else is Maya. Everything else is Maya. Everything else is Maya. And the saints who realize that, I'll end with this. The saints who realize that very quickly, they're very detached from this world. They're praying for leaving this world. They're actually actively praying to give up their life, whereas everyone else is holding on for dear life. There's a story of an old lady who lived in the forest, very quick story. And when she was very old, she would maintain her life by collecting bundles of wood and selling it in the market and maintaining her life. When she was very, very old, she was having so much difficulty lifting up the bundle to sell it. And so she started to pray to young death, please come for me, please come for me. And death appeared before her. And immediately her attachment for her body came back and she said, can you help me pick up the bundle?
There's that one, that's so good.
Why? I have to take it to the market, sell it so I can maintain my life for another week. She said, you called me to die. I said, no, but life is very dear. But when the Swarup is realized, then God is the most dear and the soul is the most dear. And you realize that, then everything else then this real separation can start, because then life is separation. Everything separate from that is separation. Yugaitam nimeshena chakshucha pravishaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virehe. And we see the pinnacle of that separation mood of Mahaprabhu is what? Quickly finishing now. The pinnacle of that mood is what? When he came to Puri, he ran and embraced Jagannath. And what did everyone do? Pulled him off. When Nityananda Prabhu came to Puri, he ran and embraced the Lord. People tried to stop him, but Nityananda was going to stop him. So in the end, Mahaprabhu, what did he do? He ran and embraced Gopinath and entered Gopinath. And to this day, there's a beautiful, the deity of Gopinath that Mahaprabhu revealed, and those who are intimate servants can or see, he has a golden line. He's very dark Krishna form. He has a golden line in his thigh where the Lord entered. Very mystical, beautiful deity. One of my favorite deities in the world is Toti Gopinath. So, this is the potency, right? How quickly. And we see this then in Lord Nityananda, 2-3 examples. Lord Nityananda preached so nicely everywhere. One time his wife, Janava Mata Thakurani, and his other wife, Vasudha Devi, said, "Oh, you've shown us so many beautiful places. We've preached so nicely. We have our nice house in Kardadaha. Everything is good. You haven't taken us to your hometown. You married us, you haven't taken us home. But if Krishna goes back home after being in the world, that means his pastimes are finishing." Right? Krishna left Vrindavan at 10 years of age and stayed out for 100 years. He knew if he comes back to Vrindavan, then this incarnation on earth will end and he will enter the eternal Dham. So, Uddhava went. Even Balaram went, but Krishna didn't go. Krishna only went as Jagannath right at the end, and then that was it. And Jiva Goswami says after killing Dantavakra, Krishna returned Vraj, and then after that, what was the next story? That was it on earth. So Nityananda Prabhu, they said, "Oh, go back to your Dham, see everybody, see your parents, this and that." Who knows if his parents even, it's not like they were staying pen pals. So Nityananda Prabhu went back to Ekachakra, and where did he go? "Oh, Janava, I want to see the deity you revealed." They had heard Nityananda had manifested a deity. Mahaprabhu manifested Gopinath, entered Gopinath. Mahaprabhu didn't manifest Jagannath, he was already there. Mahaprabhu manifested Gopinath from the soil when Gadadhar Pandit singing Jayati Tedikam, Tavakatamritam, Mahaprabhu revealed him. Why did Mahaprabhu reveal him? Hearing Gadadhar Pandit sing, Mahaprabhu was saying, "Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Govinda, I cannot live without him. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he?" And then someone said, "He's in your heart, don't worry." So Mahaprabhu started scratching his chest. And everyone said, No, he's not in your heart. No, he must be somewhere else. So he started searching for him like the gopis in the forest. And he started scratching, like the gopis would scratch the soil with the feet. Huh? So Mahaprabhu started scratching in the dunes of Puri and revealed Gopinath. And he embraced Gopinath and he said, "Look, Gadadhar, I found him." And he gave him to Gadadhar, and Gadadhar worshipped this deity. So Mahaprabhu entered that Gopinath deity. Lord Nityananda, when he was leaving home, he's also the form of the Lord. He's also, Ashray Tattva Bhagavan. Bhagavan, what's the difference, right? He revealed Bankim Rai. You go there to Banki Rai, oh my Lord, we were there, no photos allowed. And it's the strictest of any temple, because everyone says no photo. Nowadays, everyone says no photo, 1,000 rupee fine, this and that. Banki Rai, they confiscate your phones and your cameras. And when they're in there, they're on vigilant watch. Don't take a photo of Banki Rai. So anyhow, that deity of Lord Nityananda manifests, such a beautiful Krishna deity, like heart-stopping. Janava Vasudha wanted to see this deity. We want to see him. Why? Nityananda was leaving home, everyone was following. "We're going to leave you and go be sannyasis with you. We're going to be sannyasis with you and go with you." And he said, "No, you have to stay here." So he gave them this deity to pacify their hearts. And he transferred their attachment to him, to the deity. He said, "Worship this deity, I'm there." So Janava Vasudha wanted to see this deity, and Nityananda took them, and he just entered Banki Rai. That was it. No more Nityananda, but eternal Banki Rai. And one other deity we have, there's certain deities, like you want to go see Nityananda, go to Banki Rai. You want to see Mahaprabhu, to go to Toti Gopinath. You want to see Gaura Nityananda together, where do you go? Kalna. Gaura Gadadhar. Anyone been to Ambika Kalna? Ambika Kalna is where Gaura Gadadhar are right there. Why? Gauridasa Pandit, Gauridasa Mandire, he had so much love for Gaura Nityananda. This before sannyas. They were young boys, and they would go to the Ganga and this and that. So they were in their young 20s. So he had so much love for the Lord that he wanted them to always be with him. "Please be with me all the time. Never leave me, never leave me." He would feed them. They would come for lunch. We do this lunch arti of Gaura Gadadhar. Their arti is this song. Deva di Deva Gaura Chandra Gauridasa Mandire. So we sing like that. So he said, "Please, never leave, never leave." So he said, "No problem." Mahaprabhu told his mother, "I'll appear in 3 more places." You know this? First appearance is from your womb, Sachi Sindhu Garbha. So then he says, "I'll appear on anyone's tongue who is chanting Krishna's names. Hare Krishna. I'll appear on their tongue. Their tongue will be my birthplace." Then he says, "I will appear in the deity form." The deity form, I heard this recently from the Vaishnavas. They say the deity form is like the mother of Krishna. It's very contradictory idea. Why? He says that if anyone's chanting my name, the tongue will be their birthplace, the mother. Understand? The tongue is not God. Okay? But if you're chanting God's name, he said, I'll take the tongue like my mother, my birthplace. So he said, the next is the deity form. I'll accept the deity like my birthplace, like the mother. Then I would be present there. So Gauridas Pandit made a deity of Gaurnitai and kept them there. Mahaprabhu gave them deities. Gaurnitai gave them deities. Very beautiful name.
First ever Gaurnitai.
First ever Gaurnitai deities. And so they had the deities there, but he said, no, I don't want the deities. I want you.
Yeah.
And he was very persistent. He said, then I can talk with you, then I can walk with you, then we can do kirtan together. I want you. Now they're starting Sri Vasanam Kirtan. It's blissful. He said, I know you though, you stay. So then they said, okay, no problem. And then Gaurnitai became deities, and the deities became Gaurnitai and walked off. And then Gauridas ran after them and caught their feet. No, I want you. Living, walking, moving, breathing. He said, no. God wants us to worship the deities so we realize that this life is temporary. This is all material, all jat, all maya. Go to what is transcendental. That is the final destination. So therefore they show us, no, you are a vigraha, you don't talk with me, you don't want, no, you want to come to me there? You have to realize that swarup. So this happened 5, 6, 7 times. Gauridas would say, no, I want you, then they would become deities, and at the end, nobody knows if the original Gaurnitai are the deities, and the deities left and became Gaurnitai. Maybe who took sannyas was the deity, we don't know. The original Mahaprabhu always stayed in Navadvip. We never know, right? So you go there and you see those deities, and they have Janki Darshan, like Banki Vihari. 3, 4 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Why? One time a sannyasi was doing kirtan by the river. And the pujari came, and he opened the curtain to offer to Gaurnitai. Gauridas Pandit came, and the deities are gone. And then he heard kirtan going on outside. So he went to the river and saw Gaurnitai dancing in kirtan. He said,
Come back.
you promised to stay with me. Come back. So he brought him back, and they give darshan quickly and then close. I'm just talking too fast, I'm sorry. There's a lot to cover. So he closed the curtains. You go there, it's like darshan, and you see Gaurnitai. You offer your heart to Gaurnitai, and then closed. So anyhow, this is Thakurji. So Nityananda Prabhu entered Bankirai. Right? Through this archan process, we can realize Bhagavan. But we transcend at a certain point in spiritual life. You learn to go beyond the ritual into the mood, and you learn to go from archan seva to bhav seva. Right? And then you go from archan process, and people think, oh, it's important. Harinam is everything. What are you doing when you're chanting Harinam? Are you doing it with love? How are you going to realize that love? The Vaishnavas, just again, 10 days ago, without archan, you will never realize your love of God. Why? You're too attached to form. Earth, water, fire. You're so attached. When we're doing arti, using earth, water, fire, and ether, but you have to learn to use your heart and your mood. Offer the heart and the mood in devotion to the Lord, purely, directly, through His form. And when you do that, then that rati, sumangala rati, will manifest. And so we see the power of that through that seva. And I just want to give 2, 3 examples, but not the stories, but just the essence. The power of that Swarup Siddhi, they're praying to leave this world. Pasane kutiba mata anale pasibo. When you have that Swarup Siddhi in your heart, life is the greatest, life becomes the enemy, because this life is separation on the physical plane. So therefore they say, I will bash my head against a rock or enter into fire, where is my Gauranga? And we see Narottam Das Thakur in this intense mood of separation. The story of Narottam Das Thakur, he was like another Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu entered into him. Mahaprabhu entered into Nrsinga Brahmachari, is that the right name? A few personalities. So Narottam Das Thakur received prema. Mahaprabhu kept him for there in the Kaveri, right? Kaveri River. The prema of Mahaprabhu entered him. So you know where Narottam Prabhu left? He just disappeared. They said that he just became like milk flowing down the river. The body completely, in scientific terms, they call it I'm sure there's a term for it, when like the atoms of the body become so transcendently surcharged that you see this in like the ancient Eastern traditions, like some of the bodhisattvas, the liberated souls, the real perfect liberated souls, their body will just turn into flowers and float off in the breeze. So Narottam Das Thakur just became milk and floated down the river. Madhvacharya, his disciples were showering flowers on him, and then from flowers that come from the heavens, speaking such beautiful katha, glorifying his deity Gopal. And then when he became so covered, they said, okay, we should move them from Guru Maharaj so we can see. He was gone. So when the time comes, the time will come. I see the Vaishnavas on Gurudev's disappearance day. They'll just weep and weep, hardly be able to speak and just say, I'm just praying for death. Die to live. Praying for that. That's why we're worshipping Thakurji. Praying for that. Naturally, don't rush it. You know, this isn't a premature thing. Everyone's afraid of death. The Vaishnavas are eager for death. Because then the burden of separation can be removed and they can enter the Ras. The autumn season, you know, you're seeing it from a distance, but you want to... Imagine Chaitya Darpana Marjanam, right? Just for a moment. The mirror is cleansed. You can see the self and see God, but then you're still in the body and you cannot meet with God on the physical platform. Really? Like, this is Jad. So then you're praying for that. And we see that with our Gurudev. I want to end with this. I was thinking about this. Seva Kunj 2008, the most intimate place in Vrindavan. Second only to Radha Kunj, really. And it's debatable. Right? Seva Kunj is nighttime pastimes, Radha Kunj is midday pastimes. So if you think that nighttime pastimes are greater, then Seva Kunj is greater. If you think that midday pastimes are greater, then Radha Kunj is greater. So in the nighttime pastimes, in Seva Kunj, where no one is allowed to enter, Radha Kunj, you can sit there and chant all night long. It's mostly midday pastimes. But Seva Kunj, they lock it out and everyone leaves and not even monkeys live there and you can't even look there. We were living there in above it for Kartik, and we would start doing bhajans at 3 in the morning. We had a room nearby when we were serving Gopinath Van. Anyhow, that Seva Kunj, in 2008, the Pujari, Chandra Mohan Prabhu, I've documented it with him, many other people's with him. You know, the people who were there when it happened were there. 2008, during Kartik, towards the end of Kartik, Radharani came. It said it's the highest place in existence. The Pujari says, why? Because it's where Krishna massages Radharani's feet. So where the masculine god takes shelter of the feminine goddess and massages her feet. So at that place, after the Ras, Krishna will massage her feet there. In that place where she rests, she woke up the Pujari, Chandra Mohan, and said, go and give my mala and prasad and tambul to my Saki. The Pujari said, you go this tomorrow, they'll say this. I've seen him 6-7 times say it. We have him on recording 2-3 times saying it. And everyone who's there when he came to Gurudev saw it. Rajanath Prabhu, Madhav Maharaj, and so forth. Prabhuji was very angry. Another story. Why did you accept it? She's calling him. Why did you accept her prasad? Why did you let him give it to Gurudev? This was her Agyamala, calling him back. He's very angry. Why did you let him take it? Return to sender. Return to sender. Send it back. Very angry. Right after that, you were there, you came, he started 1 year parikrama of Govardhan, saying no, 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 no. And bribing Giriraj, offering yogurt, offering milk, offering flowers, offering sweets at 3 in the morning, in the rainy season, sick with cold, coughing, sneezing, leaving Vrindavan 2 in the morning, getting to Govardhan, doing half parikrama every day, and bathing Giriraj with all these items saying, don't let Radharani take back her Saki. That was the only request. And held it off for like a year and a half. Held it off for a year and a half. But who can hold off her wishes? But the story is Chandra Mohan Radharani directly said, go and give my prasad to my Saki. Who? Which one? Srila Narayan Maharaj, living in the Lal Pattar, the red sandstone building on the bank of the Jamuna, Gopinath Ban. So it's like he said living in the Lal Pattar, like the temple on the bank of the Jamuna, right there, Gopinath Ban. So he took it. He knows Srila Narayan Maharaj, famous sadhu. So imagine how happy and excited he was to hear that his Swamini, who he's praying to, came to him in a vision, in a dream, and said, go give to my Saki, give my tulsi, my tambul, my mala. So he took it, and he met, he doesn't say the sevak, but Gurudev sevak, and they said, oh, give it to me. He said, no, I have to only give it directly to the recipient. Like very precious packages. Only can be delivered to the recipient. So he went to Gurudev, gave it to Gurudev. Gurudev smiled, they spoke for an hour, and Gurudev received that like Agya. And the same Agya means order.
Were you saying that Prabhuji was upset because he actually delivered it to Sri Narayan
Yeah.
Oh,
Send it back to sender. Tell her we're keeping him.
Oh, wow.
Don't take him.
We want him to stay with us.
Don't deliver the order.
Yeah, because it's if the message wasn't delivered, you have to send it again.
Yeah.
She could send it the next day again. Wake up Chandra Mohan again. Go and give it to him again. It's like like love has to be reciprocated. And if the messenger or the duty blocks it, then how do you get the message? Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swarup Damodar would block certain messages from getting to Mahaprabhu. Some people would block certain messages getting to Gurudev. Right? So anyhow, Gurudev got this agya, and our Srila Gurudev, and end of 2010, we were all there in Govardhan. So many devotees from all around the world came, and we were all afraid Gurudev was going to leave November 6, 2010. Why? It was the same day of the disappearance of Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj. I think Gurudev's going to go, and we're all in the temple hall, 1,500 of us. Gurudev's in his room, and they have a monitor so you can see Gurudev. Gurudev's laying, and his hands in mudra form, chanting mantra, chanting mantra, chanting mantra. And we would have all-night kirtans, especially Gurudev's darling daughters. They would sing with so much love all night. So the night passed, even though he was very sick, he didn't leave, and then everyone was relieved. And he stayed the rest of Kartik. At the end, he came out 21st November, and he addressed 2,000 people, and you can watch the video online. And he very sweetly speaks about everything, speaks about his very dear Sevak, speaks about the Prikrama, and he says, I will be there in Navadvip, come see me there. Right? And then he leaves to Puri. And next, Prabhuji was very upset. They took Gurudev to Puri on Navami. Like one of the objectively silliest things you could do. Navami is the day of departure, like the day of death. Navami, of the 14 days, Navami means death. Dasami is victory. Ram defeated Ravan. Sasti, Panchami, every day has a different potency. Right? Pratipad is auspicious. Tritiya is auspicious. You took him on Navami? Said, oh, it was good. So then he stayed there for like a month. And then, Gurudev, they say that even like the pastimes, Gurudev would be on the balcony in that temple that we built, that he built, but he engaged us in serving. And he would look out at the ocean. And Gurudev would say to his sevaks, like, the waves coming in the ocean, he said, that is like the love of Guru, one after another, unconditional and endless, coming and coming and coming. Gurudev in such bhav. But in the Naisha Leela, end of Naisha Leela, Seva Kunj pastimes, end of Naisha Leela, cusp. In the cusp of Naisha Leela, the end of night, and Nishanta Leela, the beginning of morning, Gurudev entered into Leela. So Shri Gurudev ki, Gaur Purnima, Hari Hari Bol.